Today I'm reviewing two books that give you insights on how professional boxers train. Hi guys, my name is Joe and welcome to Fighting Words, the martial arts library. On this channel I review martial arts books and talk about other martial arts related subjects, and the subject for today's review is actually two books. It's Workouts from Boxing's Greatest Champs, Volumes 1 and 2. Volume 1 was published in 2005, and Volume 2 was published in 2010. The author of both these volumes is Gary Todd. He's been a boxing writer for a very long time. He's just involved himself in the sport at many different levels. The opening of each book is sort of autobiographical. In Volume 1, he talks a lot about his childhood and getting into boxing. In Volume 2, it's more about the journeys that he's had to go through in order to, meet up with all these different boxers. The bulk of both of the books, however, is made up of interviews with various boxing champions with a set of standard questions, which is then followed by their particular workout routine. Volume 1 included boxers like Muhammad Ali, Ken Norton, Roy Jones Jr., Ricky Hatton. Volume 2 got interviews with boxers like Mike Tyson, Manny Pacquiao, and Floyd Mayweather. As I mentioned, the interview questions tend to be pretty standardized. A lot of times it's, when did you wake up? Did you stretch before you ran? How much time do you spend in the gym? What do you like to do in the evening to relax? When it gets into the workouts, there are of course going to be some similar themes, but sometimes they can vary quite a bit, like how much time was spent sparring versus how much time was done on floor work, which would have been like sit-ups and push-ups. Some boxers in particular had specific exercises that you won't see a whole lot from other boxers. One that stands out to me is that Ricky Hatton had this bag and bar routine. For 1 minute, he would hop across this waist-high bar. The next minute, he'd go work the heavy bag, come back and hop across the bar for another minute. And that would be a 3-minute round. He'd take a 1-minute rest and then, continue doing that. Volume 2 sort of changes up this routine a little bit by including short biographies before it gets to the boxer's Q&A section for each individual fighter. I think that sort of adds to the overall presentation. I think that's a nice touch to sort of understand the journey that the boxer took, instead of just jumping straight into like, hey, what time do you get up in the morning? What's your favorite food? Volume 1 finishes up with the author giving advice on things like nutrition and running. He even comes up with a boxing workout program that's set for different levels, including beginner, intermediate, and advanced. This is also the section where he sort of explains some of the exercises that were included in the book. And finally, both books end with the author sharing some pictures and brief anecdotes about some of the fighters that he has presented in the book. As far as the pros for these books go, I think one of the greatest benefits of it is that there is a variety of workouts to choose from if you're looking for, how to model your own, boxing-oriented workout. You can flip through either of these volumes and just pick a particular routine and go, okay, it looks like we're doing, 10 minutes of skipping rope followed by, speed bag and then double in bag and then some sparring. Or flip through like, oh, looks like we're actually starting off with floor work before we move into the boxing for this one. I think obviously another tremendous benefit is that we get to see what some of the best boxers in the history of the sport, going back to at least the golden age of heavyweights in the 60s and 70s, we get to see what some of the best in the world were doing in order to get themselves to that stage. I also like the personal touches, the sort of the intro sections where the author let us know his journey. It's easy to read that and sort of get excited about, what's to come on later in the book. As far as the cons go, I really think it would have been helpful if the exercises were described up front instead of at the end of Volume 1. They're not actually described at all in Volume 2. If I'm going to be reading about the type of workouts that fighters are doing, it would help if I got prepped a little bit about, okay, so this is what a side to side means. This is what this means. This is what a double in bag is. I think perhaps the assumption is that anyone picking up these books would already have an interest in boxing to begin with and might be sort of familiar, but it never hurts to sort of have an intro into something like this if you're going to be using terminology that perhaps not everyone would immediately understand. Now, I also think it can be a little bit vague at some points, especially in the Q&A section. I don't know how much of that is down to the author, how much of it is down to the fighters who are maybe not articulating quite well, why they prefer to do certain things or, eat at certain times. As far as recommendations go, I think if you are interested in the fitness side of boxing or even the competitive side of boxing, I think that either of these volumes could be very good guides for sort of an intro or to give you different ideas about how to mix up your routines. I know for me, I understand the importance of routine, but I sort of get bored easily. So, I personally need a little bit of variety to get excited about, like, okay, what are we doing now? I think that is one of the benefits of getting one of these volumes, is to go, okay, what are we doing now? What can I get excited about? I'm going to get really excited about trying out Manny Pacquiao's routine. I'm going to get really excited about trying out, Fernando Vargas's routine. Again, Volume 1 in particular actually has that, workout program section in the back. So Volume 1 in particular might be of interest for that. I think if you are into sort of the historian side of boxing, these can also provide insights into, obviously, the training methods of various boxers, but also, as I mentioned, Volume 2 has biographies up front that were current to 2010 for every boxer that he covered in that volume. Anyway, I know this was brief, but most of the books were like, do 500 push-ups and then punch a lot. But thank you for following along with me. If you have a recommendation for a book for me to cover, or if you would just like to support the channel, please consider donating to my Ko-fi account. I'm going to put a link to that in the description. And that's all I have. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.